Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're turning our attention to a city that's rewriting the rules of global innovation. Not with fanfare, not with unicorn hype, but with consistent, quiet progress. You might be expecting names like San Francisco, Shenzhen, or Bangalore. But today's story begins in Southeast Asia, in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. While the world's been distracted by crypto crashes, AI hype cycles, and economic uncertainty, KL has been quietly building one of the most underrated tech ecosystems on the planet. And now, the world is starting to take notice. Kuala Lumpur has never tried to scream its success. But take a walk through the city, and the signs are all around. Glass towers rising in Bukit Bintang, fiber optic lines stretching from Bangsar South to Cyberjaya, cafes that double as co-working spaces, tech conferences filled with local founders pitching to regional VCs. This isn't a Silicon Valley replica. It's something else, something smarter, more grounded. In just a decade, KL's startup scene has gone from fragmented to formidable. From fashion e-commerce to drone logistics, from halal fintech to AI-powered agriculture, Malaysia's capital is emerging as a sandbox for serious innovation. And that growth is fueled by a generation of founders who aren't just building for Malaysia, they're building for the world. So how did this happen? First, the geographic advantage. KL sits at the center of Southeast Asia, a region of over 650 million people, most of them young, digitally native, and mobile first. It's a stone's throw from Jakarta, Bangkok, Manila, and Singapore. And that makes it a perfect base for any startup looking to scale across ASEAN. Second, policy alignment. While other governments talked about the digital economy, Malaysia built infrastructure to support it. From the multimedia super corridor in the late 90s to the Malaysia Digital Economy Blueprint, there's been a steady hand guiding tech growth. Agencies like MDEC, Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, Cradle Fund, and MAVCAP have poured millions into nurturing local talent, funding early-stage startups, and attracting global players. Third, human capital. Malaysia's population is young, multilingual, and highly connected. The average age is under 30. English is widely spoken. And coding, boot camps, polytechnics, and university accelerator programs have sprung up nationwide. KL also attracts returning Malaysians, engineers, scientists, and designers who've worked in New York, Berlin, or Sydney, and now want to build something at home. And when the talent comes home, they bring more than skills. They bring vision, contacts, and a new sense of purpose. Startups are cost-sensitive, and this is where KL shines. The cost of launching a company in Kuala Lumpur is a fraction of what you'd spend in San Francisco, London, or even Singapore. You can hire world-class developers at local salaries. You can rent modern office space for less than an apartment in New York. You can live comfortably, or even luxuriously, on a startup founder's income. More importantly, you get range. Want to test an Islamic fintech product? Malaysia's regulatory sandbox has you covered. Want to pilot drone delivery in rural areas? You'll find welcoming test beds in East Malaysia. Want to build AI tools for multilingual users? Malaysia's diverse linguistic environment gives you a real-world lab. And perhaps most critically, KL lets you fail fast, pivot often, and build without the crushing weight of Silicon Valley-level costs. KL isn't just attracting Malaysians. It's bringing in foreign founders, developers, and designers who are fed up with the burn and churn culture of the West. They come for the affordable lifestyle, but stay for the sense of possibility. Imagine this: a UX designer from Berlin, a data scientist from India, a product manager from Vietnam, a crypto researcher from Nigeria, all collaborating in a KL co-working loft over Teh Tarik and Char Kway Teow. That's not a fantasy. It's every Tuesday. You see it in startup hubs like Bangsar South, Publica, and of course Cyberjaya, the country's original tech city, now home to AI labs, blockchain firms, and digital content studios. The city's energy is experimental, young, multicultural, and increasingly global. This isn't just a cheap alternative narrative. The companies emerging from KL are world-class. Carsome, Southeast Asia's largest used car e-commerce platform, started in KL. Aerodyne, a drone tech company, is now ranked among the top in the world. PolicyStreet, a fintech startup, is reshaping how young people approach insurance. VC interest has followed. 500 Global has a strong presence. So does Gobi Partners. Even Japanese, Middle Eastern, and European investors are testing the waters here. In 2022 and 2023, Malaysian startups raised record funding, and that trend is set to continue. And this isn't a bubble, it's a slow, steady climb. And that might just be KL's greatest strength. KL versus Silicon Valley. So how does it compare? Well, KL doesn't have the density of unicorns yet. It doesn't have the same exit market or IPO pipeline yet. But what it does have is stability. KL is not being overrun by gentrification. It's not plagued by mass tech layoffs. It's not pricing out its own people. It's building a tech culture that's sustainable, inclusive, and long-term. In fact, while Silicon Valley is reeling from overvaluation corrections and burnout, KL is quietly laying the foundations for the next decade of innovation. And in a remote-first world, founders are asking a new question. Why build there when I can build here? Of course, there are roadblocks. Malaysia still faces brain drain, with top talent leaving for Singapore, Australia, or the US. Late-stage funding is scarce. Regulatory processes can be slow, and the country's political shifts sometimes make foreign investors nervous. But here's the difference. KL isn't pretending to be perfect. It's just working through it. With each policy reform, each accelerator grant, each returning founder, the system gets stronger. KL isn't betting on hype. It's betting on time. And as global economies tilt east, Kuala Lumpur is poised to become a serious player, not by shouting, but by shipping. Imagine this future. A KL-based startup builds an AI chatbot, fluent in Bahasa Melayu, Mandarin, and Tamil, Another startup develops climate-resilient smart farms for ASEAN. A fintech firm helps young Muslims invest ethically across borders. This isn't speculative fiction. This is what's happening right now. Inside warehouses turned development studios, inside condos turned R&D labs, inside a city that's turning its quiet hustle into global traction. KL's strength isn't in hype. It's in its humility. It doesn't shout. It ships. So next time someone asks where the next Silicon Valley is, don't say San Jose. Say Sentul. Say Cyberjaya. Say KL. Because the future of tech, it doesn't just live in the cloud. It lives in places like Malaysia, where talent, tenacity, and tropical weather collide. Thanks for watching. If this gave you a new perspective, hit like, subscribe, and comment below. Would you build your startup in KL? Or are you already here? See you in the next one.